Hello, Paul McFadden here. So recently we had an event and at the end we had a little bit of a Q&A and I get asked a really good question which I think you're going to get a lot of value from. And that question was, what's the one thing that made the biggest difference in your property journey? Now, this year what I'm going to talk about wasn't just relating to my property journey, it relates to all areas of my life. So with that question, kind of got me thinking quite a bit because there's many different things that's happened throughout my whole journey that I could turn around and say, well, yeah, that there resulted in this, or that there led me down this path that ended up me having whatever it was. But when I break it right down and I hone into the one thing, because that's what the question was, it was changing my social circles. That might sound something like you've heard before, like let's just change our social circles, but the challenge comes with how do you actually do that? And how do you know if you actually need to change your social circles? Because you might like the people that you're around already. And the truth of the matter is, for me in the early days, the people I was surrounded with, it was a mixture of people who were probably people I know that I shouldn't have been spending time with because, you know, you end up getting into trouble, especially at a young age, and end up partying at the weekends, getting led down that path and getting distracted from trying to build a life. So that there is quite easy to point out and go, yeah, I probably should spend less time with them. They're probably not the best people to be around because anytime that I'm getting into trouble of some sort, I'm getting derailed and pulled off a track with where I'm trying to focus going forward. So those ones are easy to identify. Hey, there might be some people like back then as well, which were some close family members, as well as a few friends who were always negative, always moaning about things, always trying to put me down, always saying that you can't do something. And understand that when people do things like that or say things like that to you, what they're trying to do or what they are doing is they're imposing their limitations upon you. So be careful with that. And I never found this out until later in life. Like when someone said to me, what, you're going to get involved in property? What do you know about property? You don't have any money, Paul, so how are you supposed to buy a property? That's not for people like us. You need to have money. Like, don't be stupid, you're going to go in debt. Like, if you go into property, you don't know about this stuff, you're going to make it a disaster. So if I listened to them, then I wouldn't be where I am today. And that there with the whole idea of them imposing their limitations upon me, that happens a lot. I see it all the time because people come up to me and say, Paul, some people around me saying negative things to me, tell me I can't do this, I can't achieve that. And it's holding me back. It's the good opinions of other people. And that's all it is, it's just opinions. But what you need to remember is they're just imposing their limitations upon you because in their mind, what you're about to do, they can't possibly even imagine doing it themselves. So automatically, they then have the comments that they say and imposing their limitations upon you. So those types of people, again, most people can understand and go, yeah, I know I probably should spend less time with those people or cut them all together and spend more time with some of the other friends that are supporting you. Now, there's been many times in my journey where I've always had to level up with my peer group and have to find mentors that are further ahead than the journey that I want to travel on because complacency kicks in. And that tends to happen through your social circles as well. And I always talk about with your social circles, like if you're around winners, like if your close circle of friends are just living life to the fullest. I mean, they're driven, they're motivated people. They're always upbeat. Hey, listen, of course there's going to be times where they're not feeling great, and there'll be times where having a conversation about things, but in the most majority of the time, they're upbeat with things, they're taking full responsibility of the good, the bad, and the ugly in their life. They're motivated to move forward. They're just driven people. If you get around that type of person, that rubs off. And that was me at the early days, because in the early days, I never had those types of people. And I stumbled across these types of people when I went along to a personal development event. And at that personal development event, I was out of my comfort zone because, again, I was young at the time. I never really traveled much back then because I never had money. And this personal development event happened to be in London. So I was way out of my comfort zone in the big city of London. And meeting so many people who were telling me a different story. You can be successful. It's amazing. You're educating yourself at such a young age. And that filled me with confidence. And I found so many great people around me who were driven, wanting to build their portfolios or already involved in building their portfolios. And property was something specifically that I wanted to do back then. So getting around people who'd already started on their property journey, it motivated me. it got me to become even more driven. They became people that I could touch base with, whether it was a phone call, whether it was jumping on a conference call with them or meeting them in person. And I always got so much energy from those get-togethers, whether it was over a call or meeting in person. And that's it. Like, entrepreneurship, being in business can be incredibly lonely because, again, finding those people around you can be quite of a challenge. And it's noticing that your current social circles is either serving or not serving you. If it's serving you, great. But what happens when you end up getting to a certain point where you become complacent and comfortable because the social circle, you're now probably the smartest person in the room, as the example goes. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's allowing you to help others. But if you're the smartest person in the room, as they say, then are you learning it anymore? That's a good indicator that you've got complacent, you're staying where you are, and it's time to level up again. So for me, I'm always getting around driven people. I'm always getting around people who are further down the path that I want to travel. And I don't just mean people in the world of business and property investing. I'm talking about people in all different areas, because you can learn from successful people. I don't just mean successful financially or successful in the wealth creation area. I'm talking about successful people who are a great example of how it is to be a father or a mother, a parent or a husband or wife, or someone who is like really focused in on their health and wellness. You can learn a lot from them because they're a winner. And it's all of that. It's like when you have this meeting of minds as such, and you're being stimulated by that, and it's rubbing off the energy of being around these people, then it's going to drive you to do more. Because what ends up happening at the beginning, and this was for me, when I met new people who were further ahead in their journey, some people way ahead, I felt uncomfortable. Imposter syndrome kicks in. But here's the thing, like I always say this, the more you spend time with them, the more time you spend with anyone, you end up becoming like them. And a crazy thing as well, this is a question to ask yourself. If you look at those closest to you, your closest friends right now, likelihood is you probably earn the same income plus or minus 5 or 10%, right? I'm talking about the same group of people that get together. Normally it's the same level of income. You know, there might be 1 or 2 people who earn a little bit higher, but it's never significantly more. That's a clue that you're settling and you're staying where you are. They're great people, I'm sure they are. Listen, they're always great people. And it doesn't mean you need to cut certain people altogether. Some cases you do. Others you need to spend a little bit less time. If not, you will stay where you are. And that is the nature of the beast. They are great people, trust me. I have still great friends from back in the day. We catch up every so often, but it's not like where I spend my time to get that energy to keep me driven to move forward. And that peer group, that group of people I want to get around, I'm always looking to level up. And that's why I always recommend to get out of your comfort zone, find people who are further down the path that you want to travel, and that might mean go out there and go to networking events, business events, personal development events, anywhere that's going to allow you to start meeting people to even see and know if they're further down the path that you want to travel and get to know them a little bit more. Just the whole power of having conversations with them, and then you'll start to click into place with you. Yeah, that's the people I want to spend more time with. And I promise you, if you do that, and you're constantly leveling up your social circles, before you know it, you're just going to see quantum leaps in your journey going forward in your personal life as well as in your business. And that's what it's all about. So maybe to finish up here, maybe take some time to think about who's the people closest to you spend the most amount of time with. Are they serving you? Great, you might want to spend some more time with them. Are they not? Maybe it's time to limit time with them or cut them completely. And can you find some new mentors or new people you can spend time with, new people who are further down the path that you can start associating with that's going to help you, push you to that next level. Because again, being around winners are getting after it. And by being around them, that's going to drive you to be a winner as well. So as always, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel if you're watching there, or the podcast if you're listening or watching over there too. Every week I drop content to help you on your journey going forward. And always check the comments below. If you've got any questions, pop it in there. I always respond to those as well. So all the best and bye for now.